by Riverside.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Live from the Bench. We gonna be pushing into the NFL offseason, so it's the post Super Bowl episode. Boulevard.
Probably could have did this beforehand. My bad. What's good? It's good. Yeah.
It ain't no thing.
We got a championship the other day.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
So the Super Bowl happened, and then I'll be honest. I said it before the Super Bowl happened. We post advertisements. We weren't going to be watching the Super Bowl. I mean, we may have looked at some of it, but it wasn't really a focus of ours. We didn't really care about it. And that's the unfortunate aspect of the Super Bowl. The NFL's got to understand that, like, we just weren't interested in the Super Bowl. So if that was a part of their script, it was a horrible script. It basically made a bad movie because nobody was interested in the way this movie
ended. Not really, no. I mean, all I heard among the fans, I'm not watching it. My team not in it. I mean, of course you're going to watch it, but you're not going to be as invested in it. You're going to watch it, though. It's the Super Bowl. But, like, yeah, it's not really a matchup that too many people were excited for. Unless you were a fan of KC or San Francisco. I mean, if you were a fan of San Francisco, you probably had to be watching the game at like 2:40 in the afternoon. So, yeah, that's a hell of a – that's an odd time for a Super Bowl, just saying.
Yeah. The game itself came on at a weird time. It came on at 6:30.
Yeah.
Which threw me off.
Used to say it was like 6:18 or something at the kickoff would be. It was always weird times. They got all those formalities that they got to go through. You got to sing 3 different ass songs. You got to have the flyover, the color guard, all of that. And then the game can finally kick off 10 minutes after that.
Yeah.
So, all that pomp and circumstance and unnecessary garbage just, no.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, sitting there watching all the pre-show and all that, you probably lost interest by the time kickoff was actually coming because there was so much nonsense that you had to sit through, so many feeder stories that were just there to kill time. Yeah. Kind of killed all your hype for it anyway. Meanwhile, I watched the Puppy Bowl. That's how I get there. That's my weekend routine, my Super Bowl Sunday. I watch the Puppy Bowl every year.
The only thing about the Super Bowl that was enjoyable for me, and then I'm gonna just say this because I did not know and it was just poorly advertised. The fact that the Super Bowl was played on Nickelodeon. Now,
they did.
We were excited about the games they played on Disney Plus. Why didn't they advertise the game being played on Nickelodeon?
There was a game on Disney Plus?
Yeah, remember the Atlanta Jaguars game they played on Disney Plus earlier in the season?
Oh, the Toy Story game. Yeah, that's debacle.
Yeah. It's such a great idea. And then they just got to advertise it better because watching the game, it was funny because there was Oprah.
They didn't really want you to watch it on Nickelodeon, but they wanted you to watch it on Nickelodeon, But they wanted the real channels get it, not the kiddies channel.
It was fun to watch because if you weren't interested in the game, you would have probably got a laugh or two. Because I saw Travis Kelce, Taylor Fish, Oprah Winfrey, just things like that. And there was a lot of jokes. It was the commentators was Patrick Starr and SpongeBob. It was funny. It was just
the Puppy Bowl had Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So
that's the interesting stuff.
Nick Furiani. So there was that. It was Nick Furiani and Mike Shanahan were the head coaches. it got to the point there were so many bad parts. I was getting mad about it, yelling at the damn TV to stop that shit. So many bad parts.
Yeah, and then the Super Bowl itself was just uninteresting. It was just like I think the 49ers scored 1 touchdown. Uh, I think the 49ers scored 1 touchdown and kicked all bunch of field goals. And
Basically.
then the Chiefs scored maybe 2 touchdowns during the game, and they scored in I don't even remember how they had
We don't
yeah,
remember the
yeah,
game very well either. Yeah.
yeah, it was just a lot of nonsense throughout the entire game, so it wasn't very interesting. And,
Purdy
like
threw 255 and a touchdown. Mahomes threw 333 and 2 touchdowns. Interception. McCaffrey had
yeah,
80 in the air, 80 on the ground. They were both basically neither one really got off in the running game. Running game really wasn't doing much. Yeah. And Travis Kelce had 9 receptions. Debo had 3 on 11 targets. So there are your offensive highlights or lowlights of the Super Bowl right there. Also 7 ass fumbles. Y'all need to work on that. Like really, really work on that. That's ugly. No matter how many recover, the point is 7 fumbles, 5 by one team. Y'all need to work on that. Get it together. Like it was an overtime game. Those are always entertaining to see it go down to the wire like that. But overall, wasn't anything special. Wasn't an all-time classic. It just wasn't. It didn't feel like a Super Bowl either. Despite all of the nonsense surrounding it, the game itself didn't feel big. It just didn't feel like the game. It didn't feel like these teams are playing for the championship. It just didn't feel that way to me.
Yeah.
Maybe Ravens Chiefs the week before, San Fran Philly. Maybe these were the actual championship games.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Maybe the
Like
best
I
teams
feel
out.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Rams Patriots game, the Rams Patriots Super Bowl. Yeah, it's just bad. You just don't want to see that. So
right, there's a lot of it happens. It definitely happens, especially when it's the same team. Like nobody really wants to keep seeing the same teams in the game unless you're a fan of that team. So, it gets kind of dry, I guess, boring, redundant, too much of the same thing. And maybe this was that. Maybe we've seen these teams at the top for too long, so nobody cared who won.
Yeah, we want to see something different.
I will ask you this: is Brock Purdy a top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
No. I mean, just look at the quarterbacks who are at the top. You got Pat Mahomes, of course, Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to go through the roster, but there's just way too many great quarterbacks.
There's a lot of questionable top 5 quarterbacks out there. Like, I could get into that all day. There's a few of them top 5 that are like, those don't seem like top 5 quarterbacks to me.
Right.
Name Burrow. I don't see all the crap with Burrow. I don't see all the crap with Allen. I'm just saying. I know that you're chopping.
I'll agree with you there. But I'll say this. Purdy is not a better quarterback than either one of those guys. He's not better than Burrow. He's not better than Allen. Like you give Purdy the offense that Allen has, fold. You give him the coach that Allen had, he folds. He doesn't perform the way he does in San Fran because when you have a guy like Christian McCaffrey, you can do just about anything because the guy can do just about anything. He helps you a lot. He brings a different dynamic to the backfield that people that you gotta actually plan for, that it kind of takes away from everything else on the team. Like Purdy's in a good position. He has a great offensive minded coach in Shanahan. I'm not going to say that Purdy is a bad quarterback. I'm just not going to sit here. I'm not ready to sit here and say that. I'm not going to sit here and say this is going to sound like this is going to sound crazy. I'm not going to sit here and say that Purdy is better than Dak. He's not.
I'd say he's better than Dak. He's gotten further than Dak in shorter time than Dak. I mean, you
Well, that's
can't
just
really.
because
I mean, you could say it's the system, the OCs, all that, but that's not. All you can do is do what you can on the field. And
true. True.
Purdy versus Dak. Purdy's already had much more success than Dak has in twice this time, 2 times. I don't know, 10 years more. I don't know. I don't know how long Dak's been in the league, but Purdy ain't been in the league that long, and he's
True. True.
obviously got more playoff wins than Dak does, and he's had more success than Dak will probably ever have in his career.
Mm.
So yeah, I'd say he's better than Dak. I'd
Okay.
say he's better. I'd say he's better than Josh Allen, because I'm not convinced Josh Allen is everything they want him that he is, that they want him to be. Justin Herbert, same thing. I don't
Oh,
know necessarily
absolutely. He's definitely better
Burrow,
than him.
but I mean, Gino, Russ, yep, better than all them. David Carr, better than him. Dak, better than him. Danny Dimes, obviously. Howell, obviously. Love, obviously. So yeah, I'd put him, if not top 5, top 8. Because I mean,
I'll put him in the top. He's definitely the top one of the. And I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna say from like my thing about Dak is like Dak performs quite a bit. Like he performs and he I'm gonna say this: Dak carries the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't like the Cowboys. I don't want to, and I
last
hate to say it.
season, yeah, last
Yeah,
season they had to.
like he's carrying that team, and the only reason why the Cowboys are even remotely relevant is because of Dak Prescott. And I hate that I'm even saying this right now because I hate everything about Dak Prescott. I don't like
Yeah,
him
you
as a
can prove
quarterback.
the point why this team is why he's not a top 10, top anything quarterback. Because I mean, they gave him weapons, he didn't do shit with them. They gave him different coordinators, he didn't do shit with them. Anytime it gets down to the nitty gritty, Dak fucks up every
Oh,
single time. That's why
yes.
Dak is not a top anything quarterback. He may be top 20 because you cannot count on him when it really matters. You
Well,
don't
if you
see
look at it from
when it matters. Like you don't see the top quarterbacks screwing it up time after time in crunch time. But that's what we expect out of Dak. That's what we expect out of Herbert. That's what we expect out of Derek Carr. So
but if we look at it from that point of view, from that perspective, then it's a lot of quarterbacks, great quarterbacks in this league that because I would say if it comes down to that, if we're looking at it that way, there's only one great quarterback in this league. Because every other quarterback on every other team has essentially choked and folded for their team. Like all of them have folded. Like Mahomes is the only one that has not folded.
some teams
All,
are just set up to fail. And
yeah,
some quarterbacks aren't supposed to be out there throwing it 30, 35 times to begin with because
I
they're
agree
not
with that
accurate.
100%. I feel
In
it, and
fact,
that's the reason why I say that Jalen Hurts shouldn't be out there throwing the ball as much as he should. He needs to
no, he
have
shouldn't.
a
No, he
two-headed
shouldn't.
monster running back. They should be running the ball with a running back. Like there should be at least 40 carries by running backs splitting it. I don't know, maybe 30,
Maybe.
40 carries between two running backs or three running backs. Because if Jalen Hurts is throwing more than 25 times in a game, then your system is fucked.
Right.
Now
Yeah,
Purdy,
getting some more out of his legs. He shouldn't be throwing it. Hurts should not be
right,
throwing it 30 times. Not really. No, you
right.
don't want.
And and in that regard, I'll say that Purdy is definitely a solid quarterback. I'm not ready to say he's a top 5, but yeah,
Which is okay.
he's definitely a top 10 quarterback
Okay.
without a doubt.
You
And
hear
I'll
that,
say
Brock?
that Purdy.
You're tolerable. You are an acceptable quarterback in our eyes. Congratulations. You're ahead of Jordan Love, but below Justin
Oh,
Fields. I'd still take Justin Fields.
see, my thing about Justin Fields, I feel like, and I agree with everyone else. A lot of people who are talking and who coming out is just like y'all not giving him what he need.
They're not.
You're not
I
giving
mean,
this
first,
man
I
what
thought
he
he was
needs.
bad, but it's like I watched him like near as the season was closing out later on in the season. Like, hold up, this dude's got something there. So obviously, it's been the system that's been failing him. He had no weapons outside of DJ Moore. We all knew that. So
As Boulevard fades out of the screen.
yeah,
But yeah,
I'm
I
not
agree.
illegal at all.
Yeah, because
But yeah,
Fields is definitely a lot better than he is, and like what was said earlier in the documentary, or not documentary, the interview we were watching earlier. It was Keyshawn Johnson who said, like, you just gave
yeah,
this man a receiver to throw to. You finally gave this man
just
a
gave him a
weapon.
receiver just this season. Yeah,
This season is the first time you decided, let's give this guy a weapon, and then instead you gave him a weapon, but you took away his running back.
right.
You took away the running back that he needed in Montgomery. Now, if that's ass backwards leadership, yeah. Ryan Poles is a bad GM. Eberflus is a bad coach, and his coordinators are dog shit because who's gonna be developed? You can't develop a guy. And I'll say this: if you have a top quarterback, you drafted this person as number one, number two, whatever.
Right.
It is on you to develop that person. It is on you. That's why I say the whole Carson Wentz debacle. You drafted him. That's on you. You have to develop him because you
Yeah,
can't say that Carson Wentz is a bum if you drafted him second overall. If you drafted him
right.
top five, your team, you as the GM have no right to call Carson Wentz a bum. No right to say it because you drafted him. It was your job to put people in place that can develop him. If you bring somebody, like if I bring a quarterback, if I'm playing Madden, I'm bringing a 68 overall on my team. Guess what? I'm fucking stuck with a 68 overall for the next 4 years, and it's my job to run a system that he can work in. If he can't, that's on me. I should be fired, not him.
Yes. Yes.
So, like, if you can't develop a person, unless that person is truly showing signs that he can't, like,
Right. Maybe
because
they
there
just
is
don't
no
want to put the
way,
work in. But
yeah, like
yeah, I mean, but
Kyler Murray,
you
for
got to look
example,
at the yeah.
right? Like Kyler Murray is a prime example. Like, yes, he's a good quarterback. I'm not going to say Kyler Murray is not a good quarterback, but he has behavioral issues. He's a child, and he got Cliff
Please,
Kingsbury fired. He got
yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury fired. Now, I want to see how, and I'm very curious and interested to see how Kyler Murray handles Sam Howell. I want to see if he can develop him. If Sam Howell comes out here and performs very
You
well,
mean you mean how what's his name? Clint Kingsbury and Sam Howell.
yeah, I, I don't know what I
Okay.
said. I probably messed something up.
Uh Murray and Howell.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm sorry. Cliff Kingsbury and Sam Howell. I want to see how that works because under Bieniemy, Sam Howell showed flashes of talent. Now I feel like there are people who don't have any lick of talent. Dan Orlovsky, no matter who your quarterback's coach or offensive coordinator is, you're just gonna be that guy that steps in the backfield. Steps on the backfield, the end zone line. You're always gonna be that guy, and you show no lick of talent. Now, then you have guys like Sam Howell show flashes of talent. That means there's talent there you can develop on. You got guys like Paxton Lynch. He didn't have it,
Ugh.
and that was the biggest mistake of
Ugh.
Denver's history.
I was
He didn't have
mad.
it. He did not
Brock
have it. He didn't
Osweiler.
even show the flashes. It's just
Brock
up to
has
you to put people in place to develop those people.
yeah. You gotta have somebody that can get these players ready to play. I mean, you gotta have them. If they're not improving, they're just staying in place, and you wasted your
Mhm.
money. If you're
Yeah,
not getting
and
these people to pro level, getting the most out of their ability, if they're not willing to put the work in, or somebody somewhere is not putting the work in with this player, then somebody got to go. And most of the time, if it's that kind of failure, it's both the players and the coaches that end up on the outside. So,
I'll also say this: if Brock Purdy performs like he did like this year, if he performs again like that again next season, not only will he be a top 5 quarterback, whoever his quarterback's coach is will probably get an offensive coordinator job because that is development. You took Mr. Irrelevant and made him very much relevant. That doesn't happen.
Right.
That's like not even in the framework of what football is. Like the Mr. Irrelevant is just a camp body, and
It
this
should
guy
be.
ended up he ended up your starting quarterback, leading you to a Super Bowl. That don't
Mm-hmm.
happen. So whoever the quarterback's
Development
coach is,
the lesson here. Yeah. That's why
whoever
the
the
Eagles
quarterback's
haven't
coach is,
fallen off.
yeah.
Right.
Listen,
Like
I'm
I
making
mean,
calls.
yeah. I mean, this shit ties right back into the Eagles' issues this season with Howie, how they haven't been in, how the players that they picked up, especially defensively, have not recovered, not developed well. They're not really saying healthy either, but they're not developing well, and they're ending their rookie year, second year, and we're not seeing enough to be sure that they're pros. That's
Right.
development.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners seem to be one of those teams that do that better than anyone. I
Yes.
mean, like, what's the name? Hufanga or whoever.
Yep.
They pick players that fit their system and they develop them to fit their systems. And it works. This is something most teams should be doing instead of just trying to hop on a coach of the month. Follow the example. Development. Focus on development. You spend less money trying to fill the gaps if you can fix the players and build the talent that fits what you want to do out there. Development, not
Yeah,
free
and I don't feel
agency.
like the Eagles are doing that at all.
No, they have not been. That's why they're in the boat. That's why they barely didn't have a third receiver. That's why they didn't have a second running back. That's why they have no real depth on an O line. That's why you didn't see much out of these young running linebackers. That's why our corners look like shit. That's why everybody kept trying to sing the praises of Sidney Brown, but we're overzealous with it. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have
We
not
want them to
developed
be
him.
good, but
He might be
who's
one
coaching?
day. Let's see, the last defender they developed would be Edwards or Sweat. That's it.
And that coach that developed those two isn't even there anymore.
Yes.
I don't understand that at all.
Those are the last two players that actually showed improvement year over year, like real improvement. So
And those two guys are gone. Those guys are
yeah,
gone. Tracy Rocker gone.
gone. Aaron Moorhead,
Nick
for that
Rails
matter.
gone.
Get them all
Nick
out of
Rails
there.
is gone. He's the DC over at Arizona.
That's comedy.
And
way to fill up.
it's like
you did a terrible job. Here's a job that pays more.
It's like he did a solid job in Philly, and then I'm sorry, I wouldn't have took that job. I'm not going to Arizona.
No, I mean they just take it because it's there. Like, wow, I could be a defensive coordinator for a bad team. Woohoo! And then you go out there and you win 4 games and you lose a job the next year. So you got to start back over when you had a quality job already.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
is that money? Because they're going to
probably chasing the bag, but I mean, you got to think long term. You got to be in the best situation for you. And just because you're a higher position doesn't really make it there. I mean, if you're working with something you can keep building your name, a better opportunity will come along with more success. Like a better opportunity, not Arizona. Maybe a Chicago defense, or maybe the Texans defense. Some young, talented defense might need a DC. You know, like, hey, there's this dude down in Philly handling the fucking linebackers that knows what the hell he's doing. But no, you take the first thing that's offered to you, and it's the bottom of the damn league, and you expect to be successful. There's no way in hell. You're in a bad system, and you're on a team that's designed to fail from the top down. Organizationally, it's a failure. That was a bad move on your part. You fucked your career up. Congratulations, guy. All you had to do is develop linebackers. Fuck this whole career up.
So now we're gonna move on from them. Let's talk a little bit about Hassan Reddick.
Yes,
so
please.
Earlier in the week, I'm not sure if it was early in the week or prior to the Super Bowl. The report came out from somebody who's supposed to be respectable, said that Hassan Reddick was looking for a trade. He seek the trade, and or he got permission from the league, from the team to seek a trade. Now, when I heard that, I assumed it was just Hassan Reddick, them trying to figure out his contract, and he wanted to see what his value was, see what he can get. Well, Hassan Reddick responds to all of these rumors, and he goes, "I never asked for a trade. I want to be here. I want to get an extension here. I don't want anything here. This is my home. I want to finish up my career here," which most people want to do. Everybody wants to finish their career here. Vic Fangio will likely retire in Philadelphia. Like, this is his home. This is where he's from.
Mhm.
So when you hear things like that, not only like we're gonna get into it, like what could happen, because I want to talk about what could happen if there was a trade, where would be the best place for him, and what will be a good uh what could the Eagles get back from him.
Mhm.
Um when you hear stories like this where an analyst or somebody who's supposed to be an expert, they put out news like that, and then do you think it can be detrimental to a player? Do you think it could be detrimental to the league or players when you're putting out stories that's like false?
No, it's mostly just detrimental to the person involved. Now, if you're putting out something that's actually harmful to the player, like a rumor that they were arrested or something like that, they were in a domestic or something like off the wall, then yeah, that
Mhm.
can be damaging to the person. But like to say, oh yeah, rumor has it, sources say that this person has asked for a trade. You're just trying to push an agenda. You're just trying to force a story where there's nothing. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
why they do it. I don't know why they do it. It makes no sense to me. It's bad journalism. Just you're there to tell us facts, not really your opinions or what you make guesses or anything like that. You're just supposed to tell us what you've learned. And
Mhm.
if you can't confirm it on your own, then you shouldn't be putting it out there. Especially if it's going to come back a few days later that you're false. And you went full throated out there with the information like it was true. You clearly didn't check your sources because wherever you heard that from, you heard wrong. So that's definitely more damaging to the person putting it out there. And it's kind of like all that clickbait shit. You can instantly spot it being questionable because it just doesn't make sense. But then you look at it anyway, and now you're trapped. Now you're getting
Right.
spam. That's what this is. It's that. It's just spam.
So
It's
I'm play.
a current affair or what's that show TMZ. It's
Yes.
the lowest form of publicity, of attention seeking.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So no,
So I
I
want to
don't
play
pay attention.
devil's advocate. Let's play devil's
Yeah,
advocate. Let's try a scenario.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
still on it.
So let's say Reddick, there's a fake there's a fake article comes out. Reddick wants to trade. A team
Mhm.
that really needs an edge rusher calls Reddick, and Reddick's like, "What? Get out my face! I never said that." And now that team goes back, or that team comes back and like, "Yeah, Reddick's not. He's not even answering calls. He's being a piss about it." Could
Right.
that necessarily lead to a negative? Because we know the owners and teams
Yeah.
talk. Could that necessarily cause
Question.
problems?
Yes.
Because
Of course
yeah,
it can. I mean, I'd imagine it's kind of a real thin rope with teams interacting with each other as it is, trying to make trades and everything, not trying to let, especially Howie get over on you. It's how he's known for working people over. So, yeah, let me repeat just what was the question?
is it necessarily something like where if they're calling a
Oh
team,
yeah,
like
yeah,
another
it would
team is calling.
definitely affect the relationship because people are feeding false information to each other, so you don't know if you can trust them or not. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. You
Because
don't want
if
to
the
be really
somebody
known as liar or a cheater or a scammer. If
Yeah.
you're a GM in the league, you want to be known at least you're being honest, or at least as honest as you can be with the other team. So,
Okay.
otherwise, who's going to call you for stuff? Who's going to accept your calls?
Right.
Maybe that's why Howie made so many bad trades this year, is because he got over on everybody so often that he had to get some comeuppance, as it were. Like he had to go make some bad moves so he could come back down and like, oh, you guys now.
Nolan Smith.
Sorry, I was so much smarter than all of you for a few years, right? Bo Allen.
It's so funny because I was actually excited about Nolan Smith, and he was just a bad. No, I'm just not. I'm not happy with Nolan Smith at all. He's not.
No. Luckily, it's still time on him, but it ain't looking good for a lot of those young players so far. It ain't looking great.
See, I think the reason why. I think the problem with Nolan Smith is just he's too small. You can't have him playing edge and he's super small. Like tackles are 320 pounds. Like you're getting offensive linemen are deep threes. Like they're on the deep 300s, and like you got a 230
Wasn't the ball from Temple like 230?
Yeah.
Indianapolis had the Raheem Brock. Wasn't he like 230?
He was.
I'm not trying to be an edge. Yeah. It don't really work. No, that there is a too small.
Yeah,
there is a limit where you're too small.
Robert Mathis
are not going to be beating blockers. Yeah, like small dudes.
Yeah, overly small, and I'm just like,
can't be like 230. That's too small.
You getting pushed around like all you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like unless you're super fast, it's not really gonna work. And you gotta have like moves. And Nolan Smith just don't seem like that guy. He just seemed like he's just like a brick, but he doesn't really have.
That's on the staff. That's what he's supposed to have been teaching that man. I wasn't seeing much of it as it was progressing. I don't remember how far he made it into the season, but I didn't see much of that.
No,
I didn't see much improvement here.
See, what I'm going to remember about Nolan Smith, what I'll remember about him throughout this season was him getting penetration, getting behind the line, and could have stopped. I'm not sure who he was. He was supposed to be tackling. He was right there. He could have stopped the play. Him and the running back, Nolan Smith was injured.
Let's see. And that was one of the best at that. Of just not quite getting to the quarterback, but getting close there. They were one of the best in the league at that last season.
Just
coming up short. Yeah, exactly.
And Nolan Smith got injured. He collided with the running back. I'm sure that running back was the running back at that time was like 185, I believe, 190. Nolan Smith went face first with the linebacker. They went boom. They were chest to chest. Nolan Smith was on the ground.
That boy gonna make it if he getting dropped by running backs.
Move that man to keep him on the inside linebacker. Let him play inside linebacker. Let him develop.
And teach his ass to cover the pass. Shit.
Right. He'll probably feel it there too. All right, let's shift. So Hassan Reddick. Let's shift back to him.
Mm-hmm.
If this were true, if we are trading Hassan Reddick, what do you think is probably the best fit for him? And what do you think will be the best compensation for Hassan Reddick? What would you accept? You're the GM. What team are you the GM for? What are you giving up for him?
I feel like the Lions would want him. On the line, not at in the back in the line, not at linebacker. Sorry, but on the line. I can see him being there. I could see St. Louis making a call. I could see Green Bay making a call. I don't know. Pretty much anywhere. I mean, who wouldn't want a pass rusher? A high-level pass rusher. I mean, you can never have enough of them. That was the Eagles' success the season before this one. You can never have enough pass rushers.
Well, so, I mean, I'll tell you where I think he's going. I know where I think he's going. If he was to be traded, because I know this team is about to lose an edge rusher. San Francisco. Because Chase Young has already played his way out of San Francisco. And by playing his way out, he played a little. Yeah. He played his way out of San Francisco. And the reason I say out of San Francisco is because he didn't really play to the standard of Chase Young, which will either get him released or get him benched as a role player. I think if San Fran wants to make a move and capitalize on Chase Young's ability to drop back, I think they would add Hassan Reddick, and he'd be a great addition to their team. And as an Eagles fan, I would not want to see that, but that's probably the best spot for him, the best way for them to capitalize on his talent.
I don't know. Chase Young could feasibly be done. He's taken a lot of damn injuries over the years. So
I agree.
I mean, leg injury, so he just could be wrapping it up. Who knows? Might not have it anymore. Don't want to see it, especially to be so young, but it's quite possible. But I mean, let's see. What would I trade for Reddick? What would you trade for Reddick? What is his trade value?
I'd give up a second rounder. No, I'd give him a second rounder, maybe mid to late first rounder if I was going to go high, depending on the team. I don't think you couldn't get anything.
Would the Texans give up a second rounder for him?
They could.
Would he fit there? Across from Will Anderson.
Yes. Not necessarily sure who's on the other side, but I would say yeah. I think that would be a very scary defense, and that would probably be the highest pick you can get. I mean, I think you can get a 16 if anything, but I don't think anybody is going to give up a 16 for a 30, a mid to late, early to mid 30 aged quarterback. I mean, D lineman or edge
he'll
rusher.
be 30 going. He'll be 30 going into next season.
Okay. So yeah, I'd say 30-year-old edge rusher. On the back end of your career, you probably can still perform for a good 3-4 more years, but I think the highest you'll get is a late. If you're desperate, you're going to give up a late first rounder. But I think the highest you can get, I'm getting for our highest I'm willing to give up for him as a second rounder.
In comparison, TJ Watt's 30, Bosa's 29, Garrett's 29, Sweat's 28, Garrett 27, Max 33, Crosby 27, Chubb 28, Hendrickson 30, Von Miller still around 35. But yeah, all of these people are in their prime now. These are like the top 10 edge rushers in the league, so to speak. And yeah, I've been looking into that because I just wanted to see where Hassan Reddick matched up statistically with them. And over the past season, he's just outside the top. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess a second would be fair for his production, which is, say, 10 to 15 sacks. I mean, maxed out 15, best case scenario. Yeah. I mean, I put some on track with his peers as S rushers. Let's see, I had this all written down. He had 11 sacks last season. A player who makes the same as him is Uwosu. He only had 2. Agba makes a little more than him. He only had 5. Max Crosby, where is this? Was somewhere around the top. Well, I mean, it's fair to say he's a top 5 edge rusher. He's making $23 million, and had where was it? Yeah, he's making $23 million and had 22 sacks. However, Rashawn Gary's making $24 million and had 9 sacks. So I'd summarize that somewhere in that range would be a fair salary for him because he's clearly outplaying the players Uwosu, Agba that are making the same as him, which puts him where it's in the bracket around 22 to 23 million. So yeah, I'd pay him more because he deserves it. He's been
I
productive.
give him the money. I'm always a fan of. I'm
3 years, 23 million a season. 23 mil a season. What's that? 69? Giggity. 3 years, 69, but 3 years, 70 million. But just make it 70. That's fair. That's fair value for him. Y'all out there listening, am I wrong? Is 3 years, 70 million too much for Reddick?
No,
Let me know in the comments.
I don't think so.
I don't either. I think that's perfect salary. 3 years, 70 million. He gets his money. Yeah. I ain't getting into whatever bonuses, all that crap. I don't know how that works. That's above my pay grade. But I'd say 3 years, 70 million would be about.
I could see that. Yeah. Give him his money. All right. And I think that's a big deal because you give him that money and then you're done. You don't have to worry about anything else. You have your playmaking edge rusher. You don't got to worry about that position because once you start getting into entertaining these trades, the thing that we're not thinking about, like sitting in an executive position as your GM, you start interview like somebody comes at you like, I'm willing to give you a first rounder for Hassan Reddick.
They won't even offer you refuse.
So, but just like humor me for a minute. They are entertaining you. I'm giving you a first round pick for Hassan Reddick. Now you're excited. Oh, first round pick. But wait. If I give you Hassan Reddick for a first round pick, who is going to fill that spot? I'm going to have to go out there and hope and pray that a free agent can give me the same production that Hassan gave me, or hope a rookie can give me the same production that Hassan gave me. Now I'm in a pickle because if they don't, I just threw away one of the best possible edge rushers that this team has had in a long time. Or I can just resign him. I'm always a firm believer that if someone asking for a raise, give them the raise. If they have performed, like this guy's lead other team in sacks, give him a raise. Like he's asked for a raise, give him a raise. There's no reason to argue it. There's no reason to ponder it. There's no reason to do anything outside of giving him a raise. Now, Miles Sanders, when he wanted more money to stay in Philly, fuck you, Miles Sanders. You ain't this shit.
What is giving Miles Sanders no money? I mean, we might have he could have got like 1 year, 8 million chops in Philly because that's all he was worth.
Right.
That's why they didn't bring him back this year. They still need depth. I mean, they still need depth. He's not going to come back. He's not going to be in Philly after this. He's not going to be in Philly. Not going to pick him up a free agency. Nope. Nobody is. So he's done.
All right. Now we're moving on from Hassan. I want to talk about Donovan McNabb's dirt balls. Asante Samuel said that made comments about McNabb being the reason why the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl, which we all saw the game. McNabb was the reason the Eagles didn't win that Super Bowl. He was just throwing the ball to everybody. Well, yeah, he was throwing the ball to everybody and every inanimate object but the receivers he was supposed to throw to. He threw the ball to Rodney Harrison twice.
Mm-hmm. That's what he did, though.
Yeah. And he threw the ball a lot, too.
Yeah.
So Asante Samuel said that.
Go on. Sorry.
Throughout his career, that's what he did, you know. So Asante Samuel said what he said. He said that now other people, Hugh Douglas, I think it was Hugh Douglas, said that the problem with Asante Samuel, I'm not sure. It may not have been Hugh Douglas, but someone said that instead of Asante Samuel going to Andy Reid and basically telling on McNabb. That's the reason why nothing was ever fixed. Is because Asante Samuel said that Andy Reid treated McNabb like a baby. It was like he's your quarterback. That's what he's gonna do. Nobody's jacking up your quarterback. So what you do is you go to your teammate, and that's what this former Eagles player said. Asante Samuel should have been a team leader and went to your team instead of complaining and running to Andy Reid every time McNabb threw dirt balls. Now,
what difference would it have made?
it probably wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever because if he's throwing dirt balls, that's just probably
been throwing the same damn balls. He would have been throwing the same damn dirt ball. And I mean, if I'm being honest, when I think of McNabb, that's what I think of are the fucking dirt balls. That is the first thing. That is the reason when anytime I talk about McNabb, the second thing I say is the inconsistent piece of shit. Because he was always throwing the ball at the fucking ground. And I am half convinced that he played a few of those games drunk. I really am. Yes. I think he was being drunk. Because that man was making some decisions. He looked wobbly as fuck. He was drunk. So
yes. I've seen stories. Maybe we can revisit that. I think we should revisit that. If I can find those articles, we could talk about it. Maybe revisit that because I've heard stories about him smelling of booze and people commenting on it. But yes, I always thought McNabb's throwing motions were weird, and that his release was really weird. That his release were like angled toward the ground, like a lot of his passes. He didn't throw a lot of passes overhead. There were a lot of passes that were low and behind. Like when he was throwing Todd Pinkston, he would throw Todd Pinkston low, which led to Todd Pinkston respectfully, possibly, potentially getting the mangle hit. And it's the reason why Todd Pinkston always gave you the alligator arms. I'm not catching that. I'm going to move out of the way.
Todd Pinkston, 160-pound wide receiver that's now a running backs coach on the Chiefs.
Yes, and he's
fuck. Man, like what is that? He don't belong there.
I guess. So with that, knowing that we saw Donovan McNabb perform like a dingleberry, would you consider him the Eagles QB GOAT QB for the franchise?
I mean, he is the most successful, sadly. And he's the leader in most of the stats that matter. It's not Cunningham to me. That's just a bias because he was the star of my younger years. I didn't see Jaws. Vic was awesome, but didn't last long enough. Hurts is still here. I hated Lynch from day one. Never saw Jaworski. Never saw Van Buren. Not Van Buren. What's his name? Whatever. I never saw anybody before 80. Never saw anybody before 85. So, yes, I guess he has to be.
Okay. So I want to do this. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because if we go by what makes somebody the GOAT is it's not about their body of work, because if anybody's the GOAT, they call Tom Brady the GOAT, right? But his numbers are reachable. His numbers are attainable. Maybe not the Super Bowl numbers. His Super Bowls may not be attainable. But there are
maybe the numbers on the Super Bowl because quarterbacks are getting better starts than he has statistically. So maybe it is.
True.
But he played till 44. So
yeah. But I look at like numbers like guys like Larry Fitzgerald and Jerry Rice. Larry Fitzgerald is the closest person to touching Jerry Rice's numbers, and he's still got a mile away. He's still got he had a mile to go when he retired. I don't think anybody's gonna touch those numbers. So wouldn't that put Jerry Rice as the GOAT? In my opinion, that makes him the GOAT, because if your numbers aren't touchable, then you are the GOAT without a shadow of a doubt. I think Jerry Rice went 20 years with and without 20 years without having a game where he didn't have a catch, which is crazy to me. So,
I believe he had 12 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Yeah, he had that crazy strike season. What was that? 89 with the 22 touchdowns, 23. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, most of his numbers are unreachable, and they were set in an era where those numbers weren't normal. So, yeah, I would put Jerry Rice has at least as much of a case as Brady. Yes. There aren't too many that are in the conversation with them if you're really talking about the greatest football player of all time.
Yes.
It would be those two would have to be in a conversation.
Now, if you want to say greatest quarterback of all time, yeah. I mean, I don't know many people that I can say Brady isn't the better. And I hated Brady for a very long time. I might start hating him again.
Maybe
huh?
7 years, maybe 7 years down the road, we can be seeing Mahomes we can be saying Andy Reid is the greatest coach of all time. More importantly,
I still think Andy Reid is the greatest coach of all time. I'm not gonna. There's no argument. You can't. There's.
I'm as anti-Belichick. We as anti-Belichick as it gets. So yeah, especially here in Los Angeles, we got a fuck Bill Belichick policy.
So with that being said, if it's about the championships that made Tom Brady the GOAT, then the GOAT quarterback in Philadelphia's GOAT quarterback is no one other than Nick Foles, because he's the only quarterback that won a Super Bowl here. Nick Foles. It's about the rings. It's the rings, man. You got the rings. That's what makes you the best.
He is way higher on the list than he has any business being just because of that ring.
Yep.
That ring matters.
And see, McNabb can be like, I lead no category.
Biggest quarterback in history, but he got that ring. That makes him play goats.
This is why Nick Foles can walk into a room. Nick Foles has a statue outside the link. There you go. Listen, Nick Foles can go into a room of legendary Eagles quarterbacks, and they'll talk his shit, and they'll be like, I lead in every stat. I lead this. I lead that. I did this. I did that. Nick Foles will be like, I got a ring. I got a statue outside the room, outside the building. What you got? What you got? Conversation over. The conversation is over. So there you go. Tom Brady, Nick Foles is my GOAT. Now there's another question you asked me: is Jalen Hurts potentially better than McNabb? Now McNabb only threw more than 30 touchdowns. Exceeded 30, got past 30 touchdowns once in his career, and that was when they had T.O. Jalen Hurts may not be getting as many numbers, but he's putting up more. He's put more scores. He's had more scores than Donovan McNabb in a few times each season. Than Donovan McNabb's never done what Jalen Hurts does.
Right.
So. And plus, Jalen Hurts is pretty sober, I'm thinking. He looks like he's sober on the field. Donovan McNabb, like you said, he looked like
he's throwing dirt balls. Not throwing dirt balls.
Jalen Hurts will probably overthrow you by a mile before he throws it at the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about the difference between Donovan McNabb's throwing and Jalen Hurts throwing, Donovan McNabb's throws aren't going to get you hit because you can watch. I mean, Donovan McNabb's throws will get you hit. Jalen Hurts throws, you'll be looking like, what the fuck is he throwing that? But you're not jumping up and getting hit. Because I've never, whenever I'm watching Jalen Hurts, I'm like, he about to throw this joint in the stands. Because he be running around, I'm like, he about to throw that in the stands. That's one thing I've never seen I've never seen so many balls just get thrown away more than when I watched Jalen Hurts play. That man throws the ball away more than anybody. I hate watching balls fly into the sideline. I hate it. I've always hated people throwing the ball. It just bothered me. I was like, just fucking take the pick. Shit.
It's a safe play.
It is a safe play. It's just it's one of those things I never grew up. I just never grew up with throwing the ball away. It's just like just give everybody a shot. Hey, just give me a shot. Just throw that shit out.
It's not really an option at the lower levels. Like, just go ahead and throw it. See what happens. Take a guess.
Yeah. Get an interception. But but if I had Nick Foles is my GOAT. Is my Eagles GOAT. Donovan McNabb's done nothing for me to feel like.
For me. It'll always
and the reason why I can't say it's McNabb because McNabb's disappointed me so much that it's like it just made me like he's the reason I hate the Patriots. And he's the reason I hate the Patriots because you lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And he can't blame anybody else on that team. He can't blame nobody else because the way he threw those interceptions against the Patriots was like they were clearly thrown to Rodney Harrison's chest, like boom.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and he did it twice. So, yeah.
They had him figured out. He trash. That's why it's a shame that he's our greatest quarterback. It's a shame. We had so many more talented, more accurate quarterbacks. But we're stuck with him.
And it was like McNabb was throwing the Kadarius Toney. Freddie Mitchell. I mean, they technically.
I just want to thank my hands for being so great. The motherfucker really said that.
Yeah. You know what's bothering me? Is Kadarius Toney got a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Doing nothing. My man looked
like Pop Top.
He looked like R-Truth with a drug problem.
Todd Pinkston got a ring, y'all.
Todd Pinkston got 3 rings. Todd Pinkston has 3 rings.
What? You're gonna be an OC. It's just that's horrible. That's a horrible realization. He's gonna be a coach one day, like a coach. Press conference, all that shit. Yeah, I know, right? Fucking gross.
The guy who was scared to catch the ball.
The one that's there to replace Reed when he retired. It might be Todd fucking Pinkston.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, gross, right? Excuse me, I was just gifted a Slim Jim, so if I look like I'm making passionate love to meat, it's because I am.
Listen, I'm a little bit jealous, but I think our episode might have been running a little long. That's okay, though.
No, it's right where it needs to be, just about an hour.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Shut it down to 59 just because if you want. Well, we got left. Could just shut it down to 59 if you want. What we got left? Anything?
I think we touched on everything that we discussed. Yeah. So I want you guys, if you're still here, I want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and look out for more because there is more coming, and I'm excited for it. We might even get Boulevard. We might even get Boulevard to try some spicy chicken. You know he has GERD, so we want to have him try some spicy chicken with almond milk.
Almond milk. Yum. I'm actually serious. I like almond milk now. I've been drinking it for 6 months. And I feel great. No more stomach issues for me.
Yes. I love almond milk. I've been drinking it with my coffee. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's something new. I've never tried. Yes. I just discovered that like recently, like get the heartburn. Now I just go in the kitchen, pour a glass of almond milk. It just soothes it all the way down. I'm like, what the freak? I was like, what was almond milk when I was younger?
Where was almond milk with the last 20 years of my life? Jesus.
And this is what pisses me off. Nobody told me that when you get a headache, if you eat a little chocolate, it helps with the headache. Nobody told me that.
Me either.
I never knew that, and I'm mad that nobody never told me that. Did you know?
I didn't know. I had no idea. This is the first time hearing about it.
It helps. And I'm like, bro, I stay with chocolate in the fridge because the kids like s'mores. And I'm like, break off a little piece. I'm not going to say
We
what
can't
brand
all be
because
serious. What you got to say about it? Hit the bitch. Anyway, yeah, what was you saying?
I don't even remember what we were talking about. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. And then just understand that you're a bench player just like the rest of us because we all can't be starters. And Boulevard can let you all know what you low lives can do.
Hit the bench.